Hello, welcome to Heady Remarks. I don't know if Fallon's gonna pop on or not. She said probably not, but I sent her the link anyway, just in case she's able to, so try to keep an eye out in case her head pops up down there. And today is December 19th, 2021. I'm talking about St. Nicholas and Santa Claus. And all the other ones too. Sinterklaas, Father Christmas, Grandfather Frost, Kris Kringle? Is that just from a movie though? That's probably just from the movie. I actually watched that movie today, the 1947 Miracle on 34th Street. Natalie Wood as the little girl. And it was kind of funny because there's a part where Kris Kringle's like kept fighting with I guess he was this weird guy was giving him tests and I guess pretending to be a psychologist, but he was like just fucking with people's heads. And this is like the old black and white one. And Kris Kringle went and bonked him on the head with his cane and rendered him unconscious for a time. And anyway, he is a little violent, the saint. One of his most famous stories you always hear about is that he slapped or punched maybe, or some say he didn't even hit him at all, and it was just slapped him with words, yelled at him. Arius? Was that his name? The guy he made mad? I have notes. But maybe we should start at the beginning. Supposedly St. Nicholas could do miracles, straight up miracles. Parents asked him to dispel the wicked demons inside their children's bodies. He would get confused a lot with St. Nicholas of Sion, but we're pretty sure, I guess, at this point, people who are into it, that the Santa Claus that kind of came from a saint, because there's more than one St. Nicholas, is St. Nicholas of Myra, Myra. He's like the cause of a lot of inspirational fables. Yeah, confused with Nicholas of Sion a lot. As early as 1163, Christians in the Netherlands were giving each other gifts in remembrance of St. Nicholas. Because he was 300 AD-ish times 4th century AD, I guess it's called. King Winter? St. Nicholas of Myra. The life and legacy of the ancient Christian bishop who became the inspiration for Santa Claus. I listened to that by Charles River Editors. It says Christmas trees started in the 1840s. Charles Dickens involved in publishing first photo of royalty, and they're saying as is customary, or like we always have, to make it seem like an old tradition already. I think that's how it caught on in America, maybe. But I also today watched A Christmas Carol. It was color. I got the impression it was colored after it used to be black and white, but it was pretty weird. The three ghosts come and visit the old Scrooge guy. Archie, don't be sad. Come here. Come on this side, weirdo. What do you want? Hop up here. Hop up here. Come on. There he is. That's my kitty. Anyway. The name Nicholas means victor of people. He had an uncle, Nicholas, appointed bishop in Jerusalem. His family had rolling swathes of land, servants, animals, pretty wealthy family. He was left with money supposedly and donated it all to the needy and the poor or whatever, people who needed it. He gifted it away. He's a big gift giver. devoted Christians. Oh, his family were devoted Christians. So, but they died when he was fairly young. He was like late teens or early 20s. So that would have affected his life. But they left him, some wealth, I guess. And, okay, this says 292. Oh, no, that was the stupid one. I started listening to a really stupid one. I thought it was going to be like a biography about St. Nicholas. And all of a sudden it was just like, almost like describing like a comic book cartoonish thing, like a big cartoony fight between St. Nicholas and Krampus. And I was like, what the hell? And I wanted to talk about Krampus a little too at some point, but also just Christmas in general and like Yuletide cheer. For the naughty kids, beaten by Krampus with a bundle of birch sticks and whip them with horsehair. Throw him in a sack. Maybe I meant throw them in a sack or wicker basket and take them down to hell for a year with him. I guess that's like what Krampus does. Yeah, Nicholas slapped Arius at the Council of Nicaea. So that's where the slap happened. They were doing the Nicene Creed. He was there with the others, trying to come up with what they wanted to do. I did print that off also. Archie's sitting on it. I'm drinking cinnamon. Oh no, that little symbol came up. Like I have internet problems. Damn. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna keep going. Should have opened these links before. Nicholas and the Temple of Artemis. Oh yeah, so there's a story that he like destroyed the Temple of Artemis, which I think is kind of rude, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for the pagans. It's like, what the hell, dude? Can't we all just get along? Just kidding. I know that was Rodney King who said that, so. Oh my God, I also today watched Jingle All the Way, and at one point, what's his name is in it? He was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Shit, what's his name? Sinbad. At one point, he was like, people were mad at him and attacking him, and he's like, Rodney King, Rodney King! It was a good story, yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this movie. It's really old, though. I was just like recording it while I watched it. Doesn't, after a certain amount of years, a movie become, like public domain? This is where he's being grouchy, I think. Hold on, I better watch the email. In case I get an email saying I'm misbehaving. I read this book when I was in like junior high, A Christmas Carol.
May I inquire, Mr. Credit, what you are doing with that shovel full of coal? I beg your pardon, sir. But the outer office is intensely cold, and my fire... Your fire? I should have said your fire. Yes, sir. It shows symptoms of going out, and I thought I might venture to replenish it with a small quantity of coal. Yes. Of course, it's very evident to me, Mr. Cratchit, that you and I left the bar.
I don't know why I'm showing this. He says bah humbug and stuff. Let's just go to photos. This is when he was happy. After he had all the ghosts visit him. Is it old enough that I won't get in trouble?
Merry Christmas! God
Santa. Yeah, am I having connection problems? That was happening last week, dang it. I'll probably be busy next week and not be doing one because I'll be like with my family. I just like this one because some say that he kind of came from Odin. So I'm like, like buff Santa. I think this was more of a Father Christmas. That's like the Coca-Cola one. I just liked this one because he's in this old thing. The reindeer. Aren't the reindeer really just, when you look at real reindeer, they look more like caribou. They don't look like this with like the small face of like a deer. I don't know. Aren't reindeer supposed, like I was trying to find like what they actually are. I know they're related to elk. This is an older drawing. Mistletoe. There's something about mistletoe. Everything's symbolic. Copyright lasts the life of the creator, plus an additional 70 years for films created after January 1st, 1978. Oh, according to Google. Interesting. Well, this is that movie's definitely like, I think it was like 1930s. A Christmas Carol. Geez, his cheeks are really red there. Oh, and then there's Saint Nicholas, I presume. Like the actual guy. He's from Turkey, and he was alive under Constantine. And I think Constantine is the one who. Hold on. I think Constantine is the one who, he passed some sort of thing that made people have freedom of religion. But not only that, he also like specifically mentioned Christianity in a way that gave it like an elevated status in a way, like the fact that he even mentioned it. Like he said, you can practice Christianity or whatever religion you want, because he had converted to Christianity. I was kind of interested in him. I printed off some stuff on him too. The evolution of Santa Claus. Oh, that one sucked because the edges of all the sentences got cut off. Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas, also called Nicholas of Bari or Nicholas of Myra, flourished in 4th century Myra, Lycia, Asia Minor, near modern Turkey. Western Feast Day, December 6th. Eastern Feast Day, December 19th. Yeah, because there's that whole East-West thing going on with like Byzantine and Rome. One of the most popular minor saints commemorated in the Eastern and Western churches, and now traditionally associated with the festival of Christmas. In many countries, children receive gifts on December 6th, St. Nicholas Day. He is one of the patron saints of children and of sailors, and of robbers, or thieves. Nicholas's existence is not attested by any historical document, so nothing certain is known of his life except that he was probably Bishop of Myra in the 4th century. According to tradition, he was born in the ancient Lycian seaport city of Patara, and when young, traveled to Palestine and Egypt. He became Bishop of Myra soon after returning to Lycia. He was imprisoned and likely tortured during the persecution of Christians by the Roman Emperor. Okay, hold on, because where is it? There it is. That's supposed to be like they took like what they thought was his skull and what they thought he would look like. But anyway, she said that his like bridge of his nose was broken here on the bones. Like, I wonder if that happened in the torture. It says he was likely tortured during the persecution of Christians by the Roman Emperor. Oh, and I think her name's Caroline Wilkinson, the scientist that like came up with this. She came out with 2 versions. She like revised it, and I think this is the second one. During the persecution of Christians by the Roman Emperor Diocletian, but was released under the rule of Constantine the Great. Yeah. He may have attended the First Council of Nicaea, where he allegedly struck the heretic Arius in the face. Okay, I still want to know, what did he do wrong and what makes him a heretic? Like, okay. He was buried in his church at Myra, and by the 6th century, his shrine there had become well known. In 1087, Italian sailors or merchants stole his alleged remains from Myra and took them to Bari, Italy. This removal greatly increased the saint's popularity in Europe, and Bari became, maybe it's Bari, I don't know, became one of the most crowded of all pilgrimage centers. Nicholas's relics remain enshrined in the 11th century Basilica of San Nicola at Bari, though fragments have been acquired by churches around the world. They call them relics, but they're bones. In 2017, researchers dated one such relic fragment, a piece of hip bone, from a church in the United States, and confirmed it to be from the 4th century. So it's just like pieces of his body all over the place. It's kind of funny. Weirdos. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I did have this page up about cinnamon. It's one of those spices inherently linked with Christmas, whether as an addition to Christmas cookies. Shit, I want to make some Christmas cookies. I haven't done that probably in forever. Like, I feel like I've done it as an adult, but not in a very long time. Just made cookies. So that's on the list. Cinnamon is a common food ingredient that has also found other uses. For example, in biblical times, it was utilized as a perfume in rubbing oils, and cinnamon was employed as a fragrance in the preservation of dead bodies in ancient Egypt. It's a cinnamon spice is obtained from the inner bark of several trees within the cinnamomum genus, and consists of several naturally occurring chemical substances. One such substance is cinnamaldehyde, which can be found in large but varying amounts depending on cinnamomum species. In some cases, the percentage of cinnamaldehyde in cinnamon extracts can be very high, with values reaching up to 90%. This is important, for it's the cinnamaldehyde that has been identified as the cinnamon component that gives rise to much of the reported medicinal properties of the spice. Okay, anyway, enough about cinnamon. Nicholas's reputation for generosity and kindness gave rise to legends of miracles he performed for the poor and unhappy. He was reputed to have given marriage dowries of gold to 3 girls whom poverty would otherwise have forced into lives of prostitution. Yeah, this is probably the most told story, and it's so dark. If it's true, I can totally see it being true. What the hell kind of world is that see, that's why I'm like, okay, obviously life is better when women are able to have more choices than that. Like, whoa, what a shitty time to live. But anyway, their father had lost his money suddenly for some reason and was destitute. I think he probably just heard about it in town, St. Nicholas, but he claimed some of the stories say that he had a dream about this guy with his 3 daughters. They were of marrying age, and they couldn't be married without dowries. So, yeah, the dad. Anyway, St. Nicholas, like, came and threw gold in through their window. They didn't have chimneys back then, but that's the story, is that he did it once and then he did it again, and either the second or third time, because he threw gold at them for all 3 daughters to pay the dowry, so they didn't have to become prostitutes. And one of those times the dad ran out and was like, "Oh, it's you." And supposedly he told him not to tell anyone. It was a secret gifting, It's better if it's only known between you and God, and, you're not doing it for, like, kudos. But he told him, I guess, the documentary I was watching was like, he must have told people because we know the story. So anyway, but yeah, it's like, there's a few different versions of the stories as usual. It's like, sometimes they're like, oh, he threw it into their window and it landed in their sock, which was hanging above the fireplace, and that's where it comes from. And it's like, maybe, I don't know. Good shot, if so. Cinnamon is very potent. Yes. Yes, it is. Like peppermint. It's kind of cool. There's like strong, natural, weird. I like herbs and stuff. What was I doing? Okay, so he gave marriage dowries of gold to 3 girls whom poverty would have prostitution, and to have restored to life 3. Oh yeah, this one. Supposedly he restored to life 3 children who had been chopped up by a butcher and put in a tub of brine. Like supposedly the kids just put their bodies back together magically and rose up out of the brine. Obviously, that's going to be a hard story for me to believe. But, these inspirational fables. In the Middle Ages, devotion to Nicholas extended to all parts of Europe. He became the patron saint of Russia and Greece, of charitable fraternities and guilds, of children, sailors, unmarried girls, merchants and pawnbrokers, and of such cities as Freiburg in Switzerland and Moscow. Thousands of European churches were dedicated to him, one built by the Roman Emperor Justinian I at Constantinople, now Istanbul, as early as the 6th century. Nicholas's miracles were a favorite subject for medieval artists and liturgical plays, and his traditional feast day was the occasion for the ceremonies of the boy bishop, a widespread European custom in which a boy was elected bishop and reigned until Holy Innocents' Day, December 28th. I don't know much about that. Did you find the story of Krampus? I did. I've heard of Krampus. I saw that shitty movie that came out a few years ago. But yeah, I do have some pictures of him, actually. After the Reformation, devotion to Nicholas disappeared in all the Protestant countries of Europe. Oh yeah, so the Protestants suddenly, the Protestants didn't like Santa Claus, or they didn't like Christmas, right? It almost got kind of wiped out for a minute there, which I think is kind of shitty. I like Christmas. It's fun. I like the lights. I like Christmas lights. I like that shit. And it's dark, it's the winter solstice, so it's dark and you want the light to come back. So there's also that. Okay, so devotion to Nicholas disappeared in all the Protestant countries of Europe except Holland, where his legend persisted as Sinterklaas, a Dutch variant of the name Saint Nicholas. Okay, yeah, so what I heard, maybe it's the Dutch. Is that the same thing as Holland? Is that what Holland is, Dutch people? So they're the ones that kept it alive, from what I can tell. Dutch colonists took this tradition with them to New Amsterdam, now New York City, and the American colonies in the 17th century. Sinterklaas was adopted. They've got it in one word here, Sinterklaas, but I've seen it with 2 words too, like Sinterklaas. Was adopted by the country's English-speaking majority under the name Santa Claus, and his legend of a kindly old man was united with old Nordic folk tales of a magician who punished naughty children and rewarded good children with presents. The resulting image of Santa Claus in the United States crystallized in the 19th century, and he has ever since remained the patron of the gift-giving festival of Christmas. Under various guises, St. Nicholas was transformed into a similar benevolent gift-giving figure in the Netherlands, Belgium, and other northern European countries, but with a violent streak, I dare say. In the United Kingdom, Santa Claus is known as Father Christmas. Maybe I'll go back to the pictures. I thought that movie Krampus kind of sucked, but I did also. Ah, there he is. I don't know. I just grabbed some random drawings of him. He's is that supposed to be a kid? But I liked the monster. The movie itself was just kind of dumb. Just kind of lame. That looks like the Pan's Labyrinth guy, almost. Okay, this is all mixed in with like Father Christmas and Grandfather Frost and King Winter. Okay, I just thought this one was funny. I don't know why he has the thing, but just never mind. I don't know why I saved that. This one's creepy. I find this quite creepy just because it was kind of scary, you know, because it looks like something that could almost look like Santa Claus from a little far away or from the side or from behind, but then it's like, ah! Scary. Oh yeah, he's got his birch wood. Is that what that is? Yep. It's twigs. Birch twigs. Oh. Creepy. He gets the naughty ones. I kind of like the blue of this guy. So as far as we know, St. Nicholas himself was not a fat man, or probably not a particularly jolly man, although he was very giving, so maybe he was jolly, I don't know. And I don't think he was martyred. I think he died of natural causes. I don't know. I have this. Santa Claus, otherwise known as St. Nicholas or Kris Kringle, has a long history steeped in Christmas traditions. Today, he is thought of mainly as the jolly man in red who brings toys to good girls and boys on Christmas Eve. But his story stretches all the way back to the 3rd century when St. Nicholas walked the earth and became the patron saint of children. Find out more about the history of Santa Claus from his earliest origins to the shopping mall Santas of today. Hold on, I was just thinking, this is also kind of also gross to me, but like they're so obsessed with like the remains of him that I think at one point they were like pouring things into his tomb, supposedly where his bones were, and then there was a leak in it where they would go like fill up their like container supposedly and like sell it as manna, whatever that means. That's fucking disgusting. I really hope that that's not what, I mean, that's what it said. I've heard multiple things that said that. He is supposed to be the devilish counter of St. Nicholas. He whips children with branches and sticks. As he should. Just kidding. Hey, if it works, I mean, what are you going to do with the Varrock assaults of the world that just don't understand anything other, I mean, I don't know. What did she do? She fell into an egg machine or something. She was a bad egg. Two New Yorkers, Clement Clark Moore and Thomas Nast, were major influences on the Santa Claus millions of children wait for each Christmas Eve. St. Nicholas made his first inroads into American popular culture towards the end of the 18th century. In December 1773. Yeah, it was like outlawed. Christmas was like outlawed in certain places. Supposedly, on Roanoke, is it called Roanoke or Roanoke? I don't know. But they were actually still celebrating Christmas there, like in Jamestown, that colony with like John Smith. But it was in Boston. It was like against the law, which I thought was weird. He's supposed to be oh, I already read that. Damn it. Okay. St. Nicholas made his first oh my God, Heidi, no. Okay, so towards the end of the 18th century, a New York newspaper reported that groups of Dutch families had gathered to honor this anniversary of his death, of St. Nicholas's death. The name Santa Claus evolved from Nick's Dutch nickname Sinterklaas, a shortened form of Sint Nicholas, with 2 A's and a K, Dutch for St. Nicholas. In 1804, John Pintard, a member of the New York Historical Society, distributed woodcuts of St. Nicholas at the Society's annual meeting. The background of the engraving contains now familiar Santa images including stockings filled with toys and fruit hung over a fireplace. Real quick, Odin flies across the sky in his like chariot, right, with an 8-legged goat. But it's interesting because then there's like 8 reindeer, and a couple of them are named after like the word for lightning in different languages. Like Blitzen, I think, is lightning, and there's another one. Yeah. In 1809, Washington Irving helped popularize the Santa Claus stories when he referred to St. Nicholas as the patron saint of New York in his book, The History of New York. As his prominence grew, Santa Claus was described as everything from a rascal with a blue 3-cornered hat, red waistcoat, and yellow stockings to a man wearing a broad-rimmed hat and a huge pair of Flemish trunk hose. What? Gift giving, mainly centered around children, has been an important part of the Christmas celebration since the holidays. Blah, 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 blah. Salvation Army Santas have been ringing bells on the street corners of American cities ever since the early 1890s. Yeah, well, they had less money this year because they said some stupid shit. From what I heard. Kris Kringle in the 1947 classic Santa Claus movie. Wait, Edmund Gwenn won an Oscar for that role. I didn't know that. He was playing Kris Kringle. Yeah, he was pretty good. When he says he is the real Santa Claus. Yes, it was remade in 1994. The Macy's Santa has appeared at almost every Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade since it began in 1924, and fans of all ages still line up to meet the Macy's Santa in New York City. Blah, blah, blah. 1822, Clement Clark Moore, an Episcopal minister. Episcopal? But aren't they Protestants? Aren't Protestants the ones that didn't like Christmas? It's kind of confusing, because he's the one who wrote 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. A long Christmas poem for his 3 daughters entitled An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas. That's what he called it, but people just started calling it by its first line, more popularly known as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Moore's poem, which he was initially hesitant to publish due to the frivolous nature of its subject, is largely responsible for our modern image of Santa Claus as a right jolly old elf with a portly figure and the supernatural ability to ascend a chimney with a mere nod of his head. Doesn't he have to put his finger by his nose? Although some of Moore's imagery was probably borrowed from other sources, his poem helped popularize the now familiar image of a Santa Claus who flew from house to house on Christmas Eve in a miniature sleigh, led by 8 flying reindeer to leave presents for deserving children. An account of a visit from St. Nicholas created a new and immediately popular American icon. In 1881, political cartoonist Thomas Nast drew on Moore's poem to create the first likeness that matches our modern image of Santa Claus. His cartoon, which appeared in Harper's Weekly, depicted Santa as a rotund, cheerful man with a full white beard, holding a sack laden with toys for lucky children. It is Nast who gave Santa his bright red suit trimmed with white fur, North Pole Workshop elves, and his wife, Mrs. Claus. 18th century America's Santa Claus was not the only St. Nicholas-inspired gift giver to make an appearance at Christmas time. There were similar figures and Christmas traditions all around the world. Christkind or Kris Kringle? What? Christkind or Kris Kringle was believed to deliver presents to well-behaved Swiss and German children. Oh, okay, so that's where Kris Kringle comes from. Christkind. Is that what that means? Is that what Kris Kringle means? Oh, wait. To Swiss and German children, meaning Christ child. Christkind is an angel-like figure often accompanied by St. Nicholas on his holiday missions. In Scandinavia, a jolly elf named Jultomten, oh my god, was thought to deliver gifts in a sleigh drawn by goats. Goats. English legend explains that Father Christmas visits each home on Christmas Eve to fill children's stockings with holiday treats. Père Noël is responsible for filling the shoes of French children. In Italy, there's a story of a woman called La Befana, a kindly witch who rides a broomstick down the chimneys of Italian homes to deliver toys into the stockings of lucky children. Okay, I just feel like the Italians really got that wrong. Like, read the room, Italians. It's not Halloween. It's not time for witches. So when it was becoming popular in America, that was also, I guess, during a time when people were getting more like, let's treat children like not just like little adults, let's be like sensitive to their childish nature and sensitivities and needs and all that, emotional needs. And so it was like, because I think that it used to be a rambunctious holiday. I'm sure I've got that here too. Like a rambunctious holiday that people would get really drunk, which they still do, I guess, but they wanted to turn it more into like something for kids and for family, more reverent and less, I don't know, crazy. Rudolph. Oh, Rudolph. So he took the reindeers from 8 to 9. He was born over 100 years after his 8 flying counterparts. The Red-Nosed Wonder was the creation of Robert L. May, a copywriter at the Montgomery Ward department store. Robert L. May. In 1939, May wrote a Christmas-themed story poem to help bring holiday traffic into his store. Using a similar rhyme pattern to Moore's "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," May told the story of Rudolph, a young reindeer who was teased by the other deer because of his large, glowing red nose. But when Christmas Eve turned foggy and Santa worried that he wouldn't be able to deliver gifts that night, the former outcast saved Christmas by... We all know the story. So Montgomery Ward sold almost 2.5 million copies of the story in 1939. He was a what? He was a copywriter at the department store. Weird. 2.5 million copies of the story in 1939. When it was reissued in 1946, the book sold over 3.5 million copies. Again. Oh, 2.5, 3.5. Several years later, one of May's friends, Johnny Marks, wrote a short story based on Rudolph's story, 1949. In 1949, I guess. It was recorded by Gene Autry and sold over 2 million copies since then. So it's sort of based on like The Ugly Duckling. It's basically kind of the same story. It's like what makes you different makes you special in a special way. And then there was that cartoon in the 60s, the claymation cartoon. Oh, television movie narrated by Burl Ives in 1964. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen. Shit. Do I know it? Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen. Donner. Oh no, it's gonna bug me now. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen. Donner Blitzen. Something. Oh, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. That's gotta be it. I don't know what to do, you guys. It's kind of a boring topic, I know. But it's like, I thought I had a picture of the Great Hunt. Maybe I'll just pull it up. Odin's Great Hunt. Great Hunt. Yeah, because, well, yeah, Odin is lightning, like, god of thunder and all that. Or Thor is god of thunder. And Odin is what? God of war? I don't know. Comet, Cupid, Donner, Vixen. Well, the last one's Blitzen. Shit. It's like a... I can't even think of words right now. My brain's not working. Okay, I'm going to share this. Tongue twister. Is that him? Is that him going across the sky? I think this is the one I saw. I like this one. It's kind of cool. Yeah, people would stay inside. But did he also bring gifts? Yeah, a lot of the stories were like someone's coming, flying through the sky. They're giving it, you're either going to be rewarded or punished, depending what you've been up to. So Not that same deal. And some places it was calling him Woden, like Woden. Oh, that one looks cool. Let me see my notes. Oh, shoot. What's this? The Untold Truth of St. Nicholas. What's that? That sounds exciting. St. Nicholas was holy from day one. Oh yeah, there were some kind of ridiculous stories that I saw that were like, oh, he wouldn't suck from his mother's breast on Wednesdays or Fridays because he was honoring, like, where are my notes? I was like, bullshit, come on. A baby doesn't know these dates. Don't be silly. Where are my notes on that? Nicholas and the falsely accused. Yeah, the three maidens, there's that one. Hold on, I want to read the falsely accused one. The emperor sent 3 princes to Lycia to stop a rebellion nearby. Their names were Nepotian, Ursina, and Apollyon. Stormy weather at sea forced them into the port of Myra, where Nicholas was bishop. Nicholas invited them to dine with him and other dignitaries of the town. While at dinner, though, the consul, a corrupt man, ordered that the 3 innocent princes be beheaded, whether the consul sought to aid the rebellion or steal the prince's money is not clear. St. Nicholas was horrified at this mistreatment, even as the executioner had his sword raised over the princes' heads. Nicholas stormed into the room and blocked the executioner. It's kind of fantastical. He had the men unbound and led them to safety. Then he confronted the corrupt consul, who repented. Nicholas blessed the princes and sent them on their way. After making peace with the rebellion leaders, they sailed to Constantinople. I hope that's how you say it, where the emperor awaited their report of success. As it turned out, there was further plotting against them, and they wound up in prison again, sentenced to be executed. One of them persuaded the others to pray to Nicholas. That night, Nicholas appeared in a dream to Emperor Constantine and commanded him to free the innocent men, which he did. When they heard the news, they fell to their knees and praised God. Finally, they were allowed to return to their homes. Over the years, St. Nicholas interceded in the courts for many others who were falsely accused. Interesting. Oh yeah, so there's this. He was also the patron of sailors. What else? There was one other thing. It was like, I guess this was it. Maybe it was safety at sea. There are countless stories of St. Nicholas intervening to help sailors in times of distress. The most famous is told of a time when Nicholas went across the sea on pilgrimage to the Holy Land. A frightful storm came up, and the sailors feared they were all about to die. They came to the holy bishop and pleaded for his help. Nicholas prayed fervently, and the seas became miraculously calm. The sailors were amazed and gave praise to God. It is said that on the return voyage, a sailor fell to his death from a high mast. Nicholas prayed over the man, and he came back to life. So there's stories about him straight up bringing people back from the dead. It's kind of silly. I don't know. It's silly. Nicholas never took credit for any of his deeds. He always instructed the people to turn their hearts to God and repent from sin. Yeah, it's like God loves a joyful giver. Okay, hold on. I want to hear this. Defender of the faith. Is this where... Okay. A final aspect of St. Nicholas is not to be forgotten, because this is about when he slapped Arius or whatever. A final aspect of St. Nicholas is not to be forgotten, says Father Palus. He suffered for his faith. Nicholas lived in the awful time of Christian persecution at the hands of Roman emperors. He survived torture in prison to live through the incredibly challenging years of the newly freed church defining its doctrines. When Emperor Constantine brought Christianity out of hiding and prison in the 4th century, the church faced an empire-wide debate between the Egyptian theologians Arius and Athanasius over the divinity of Jesus. Okay, so these were Egyptian theologians. Followers of these two literally rioted in the streets against each other. The issue, brewing for some time, was supposedly settled in 325 at the Council of Nicaea. Source of the Nicene Creed, prayed at Mass today. But the struggle over this doctrine of Jesus' divinity continued for decades. There is an apocryphal story that Archbishop Nicholas at the Nicene Council was so infuriated at the Arian bishops who denied Jesus' full divinity that he slapped one in the face. He was censured, the story goes, until the same bishops had a dream in which God told them to reinstate Nicholas. They reinstated him, so he got arrested for that. Yeah, I've heard a couple stories about him getting arrested. This story, true or not, put Nicholas squarely on the side of those who proclaim Jesus as one in being with the Father in the struggle to capture the minds and hearts of Christmas of the day. We can thank St. Nicholas and others like him that the acceptance of Jesus' full divinity carried the day as the church grew. I kind of want to watch a video about Yule. I don't know if I can. Can I? Am I allowed to? It sounded like a jolly time. They would just get a giant tree and shove it into the fireplace and burn it for like 12 days straight. Total fire hazard. That's a pretty rad photo. Blitzen, you're right. Yule videos. I saw one by a German girl that I liked. What should I search to get what I'm trying to get? Yule documentary. This is stupid. How do I ever get what I want? Okay, I swear it's on YouTube. I know. I just wanted to know about like the traditions and stuff that lived on. Oh, shit. Yule vlog? Is this her? Maybe this is the one I watched.
Hi lovelies and welcome to the Witch's Cookery. Today we're celebrating Yule and the winter solstice together. I want to give you some ideas on how to celebrate Yule, what to do for the winter solstice, Yule rituals and kitchen witchery, the pagan history behind the holidays and customs, and of course symbolism and spellspiration for you. What can you see in this witch vlog today? Let me show you. First, we're going to take a walk through this magical winter wonderland, gathering some traditional evergreens and hear about Yule celebrations in different cultures and the pagan traces in modern day. And we shall do some scrumptious kitchen witchery with Yule-themed burning flames. I also want to introduce you to the traditional smoke cleansing methods during the Yuletide in southern Germany, doing a very meditative winter solstice ritual. And last but not least, we will conjure up a witchy brew in my new cauldron.
Oh, goodness. Well, how does Christmas start? The middle of winter has long been a time of celebration around the world. Centuries before the arrival of the man called Jesus, early Europeans celebrated light and birth in the darkest days of winter. Many peoples rejoiced during the winter solstice when the worst of winter was behind them and they could look forward to longer days and extended hours of sunlight. I like winter. I've always liked winter, but we have like beautiful snow in Utah and stuff. And yeah, we're tilted away from the sun right now. You know, we're in the northern hemisphere and it's tilted. We're still spinning, but we're tilted. We're tilted away. Tilted away instead of toward. While spinning. Yeah. Weird. It's always weird to try to imagine like what's going on with all that. But I think I've got a good picture of what's going like in the solar system. I think I finally understood it. Like being able to picture it in my head. Okay.
Go!
In Scandinavia, the Norse celebrated Yule from December 21st, the winter solstice, through January, in recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs, which they would set on fire. The people would feast until the log burned out, which would take as many as 12 days. The Norse believed that each spark from the fire represented a new pig or calf that would be born during the coming year. Yeah, you have to prepare ahead for winter, and then we would have our fun little celebrations of getting together and just being grateful, I guess, for warmth and light and for it to come back as we make it through the winter. It's kind of cool. It was weird watching that movie, A Christmas Carol, because their light all just came from candles. It's just funny for how long humans got by that way. Like, walking around, with their little candle in their hand, little, hook, finger hook, plate thing. Like, I couldn't tell. I was like, is Scrooge supposed to be rich? Because it was so dark, because you can see it the next day when he wakes up. But the night before, it's like his house is so freaking dark. You can't even see anything. He's just like walking around with a candle. I'm like, isn't he supposed to be rich? I guess he is. Or wealthier than the others in the movie. Better off. To walk around your apartment all day. Well, not all day, I guess.
Slowly the days will become longer again. So even though we're in the midst of winter, it is a sun festival. The people back in the days were completely dependent on nature to provide food, nourishment again. So there were lots of fire.
Solar calendar. Not lunar, solar.
And fertility rites performed in order to help the sun regain its energy and for nature to preserve its fertility. Also unrelated, but I need you to know that I'm actually really, really tall and this tripod is not. And different plants were brought into the houses. Now, I do have a little bit of green witch lore for you, so you know why we take certain plants into the house and what you can do in your witchcraft practice to incorporate them for use all its nutrients and whatever it needs out of its host tree. Now, obviously, with certain trees being...
From what I read, what did he call it? Constantine allowed the... He called it friendly traditional magic or something like that. I think I've got it in here somewhere. Dang it. I should have had a highlighter. I was reading through these earlier today. I just kind of wanted to talk about... Oh, wait. Here we go. What's that? The mistletoe.
To keep the evil spirit away. Ivy grows in the dark. It also grows in shadow. It doesn't need much light. It can grow in the forest floor, up on trees. It's an evergreen plant, which also symbolizes to the people the idea of rebirth, of the re-strengthening of nature, of the re-greenery of everything. And fun fact, it was actually banned for a while.
I just remembered I was watching Red Ice and she said in one video that the colors red and green are Christmas colors because of the green of the tree, stays green all year, and the blood of the meat and animal parts that they would hang on the tree to sacrifice, whatever animal to, I guess, to Odin, or maybe it was Mithra, but they would drip blood on the snow below and yeah, she was saying that that's why we have big red ornaments on our trees. It's comes from that. I don't know if that's true.
From Christian churches as decor.
They also liked, the whole a giant hog head, Christmas hog. Now people do the Christmas ham, I guess.
Because it grows in the shadow, so it had a little bit of that evil, mistrusting character there. Where I live, we do mostly use evergreen, this fir or pine, to symbolize the immortality, the cycle of life, and another leftover from the Germanic traditions that made it into modern day here in Bavaria is the barbarous twig cut on the 4th of December from a cherry or an apple tree. You put it in the house in a vase and it will bloom at the winter solstice. Now for my little Yule ritual later on, I do have to gather some materials, so let's go.
I want a cloak.
cultures around the world. The Western shamanic people had this big mother goddess cult. So on the 21st of December, the Anglo-Saxons actually celebrated Modrenacht, or Mother's Night. And there we already have our theme. All those holidays really revolve around the idea
So the
of
night
birth,
before?
rebirth, growth, the cycle of life. We also see that in Christmas, of course, the birth story, the birth of Christ. We see it in Afghanistan, Iraq, Tajikistan, the old Persian era, where Yalda night is celebrated. Yalda meaning birth. Old Egypt was celebrating the birth of the sun god Horus. In my last vlog, I already mentioned Sol Invictus and the
It's funny how a
Saturnalia
lot
in
of
the Roman
places kind of do
Empire. And
similar
even
things.
to this day, the birth of the light idea has kept in some cultures and countries. Saint Lucia Day, looking through the windows to spot lazy or
Krampus.
misbehaved children. Once again, we do like to scare our offspring into obedience. And if she catches you, she takes her sickle and then she will open your stomach, put out your guts, fill it with stones, sew it back together and throw you in a pot.
Is she talking about the Italian witch?
For not eating your spinach. And not until long ago, in the area called the Bavarian Forest, it was still a custom for women to dress up as the old Lucia and go from house to house with a bucket full of the guts of an animal, because it's also the time to slaughter, and sit in complete silence in the living room and just sharpen their knives. It's one of those fun little Christmas traditions we have. I mentioned in my last vlog here, the goddess Perchta, also similar to Freya, is the reigning queen of the winter, and she is very double-faced, so she can be like very good and kind and giving, and she can be very mean and punishing. And in the Lucia that we have here, the wild Lucia, way to honor the rebirth of sun, then with a little bit of kitchen witchery. The flames, candles, fire in general are very big on Yule. In part of Europe, big burning fire wheels were rolled down hills, bonfires were lit. That's why I thought of making edible flames. Also because I didn't have any cookie stuff. Cardamom, I waited until it's months is the what St. Nicholas brings.
I want to start cooking stuff.
You know, could actually put out. They go for lovely flight, the real joy to create, connected to the sun and to the other sun festivals on the Wheel of Year. Juniper berries related to green winter witchcraft. Juniper was considered cone. Only outside, please, balcony or garden. It's perfect. And you might be surprised to know that this is actually not a modern day phenomenon. This actually goes back to
I know she talked about the Yule log at some point in there, but let's look it up. I mean, she mentioned it, but I could have sworn she went more into depth about it. Recipe, no. The Yule log, Yule clog, or Christmas block is a specially selected log burnt on a hearth as a winter tradition in regions of Europe, particularly, I wish I had a fireplace, particularly the United Kingdom. I'm going to start getting a tree. I didn't even get a tree this year. I like never do, but yeah, I should start doing things. Subsequently, in North America, the origin of the folk custom is unclear, like other traditions associated with Yule, such as the Yule boar. The custom may ultimately derive from Germanic paganism. American folklorist Linda Watts provides the following overview of the custom. The familiar custom of burning the Yule log dates back to earlier solstice celebrations and the tradition of bonfires. The Christmas practice calls for burning a portion of the log each evening until 12th night. January 6th. The log is subsequently placed beneath the bed for luck and particularly for protection from the household threats of lightning and, with some irony, fire. Many have beliefs based on the Yule log as it burns, and by counting the sparks and such, they seek to discern their fortunes to the new year and beyond. Watts notes that the Yule log is one of the various emblems of divine light that feature in winter holiday customs. Other examples include the Yule fire and Yule candle. Although the concept of Yule extends far into the ancient Germanic record long before Christianization, the first clear references to the tradition appear in the 17th century, and thus it is unclear from where or when exactly the custom extends. However, it has long been observed that the custom may have much earlier origins, extending from customs observed in Germanic paganism as early as 1725, Henry Bourne sought an origin for the Yule log in Anglo-Saxon paganism. This is a quote, I guess. Our forefathers, when the common devices of eve were over and night was come on, were wont to light up candles of an uncommon size, which were called Christmas candles, and to lay a log of wood upon the fire, which they termed a Yule clog, or Christmas block. These were to illuminate the house and turn the night to day, which custom in some measure is still kept up in the northern parts, it hath in all probability been derived from the Saxons. For Bede tells us that this very night was observed in this land before by the heathen Saxons. They began, says he, their year on the 8th of the calendars of January, which is now our Christmas party. And the very night before, which is now holy to us, was by them called Madranak, or the Night of the Mothers. The Yule clog, therefore, hath probably been a part of those ceremonies which were performed that night's ceremonies. It seemed to have been used as an emblem of the return of the sun and lengthening of the days, for as both December and January were called Gilly or Yule, upon account Guili, upon account of the sun's returning and the increase of the days. So I am apt to believe the log has had the name of the Yule log from its being burnt as an emblem of the returning of the returning sun and the increase of its light and heat. This was probably the reason of the custom among heathen Saxons, but I cannot think the observation of it was continued for the same reason after Christianity was embraced. Saturnalia? What's Saturnalia? I saw that somewhere. Here it is. Okay, so this is talking about Yule. Most cattle were slaughtered so they would not have to be fed during the winter. Oh, sad. I mean, I don't know, whatever. For many, it was, gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. For many, it was the only time of year when they had a supply of fresh meat. In addition, most wine and beer made during the year was finally fermented and ready for drinking. Oh, well, what do you know? In Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin. It's spelled O-D-E-N here. Is it I-N or E-N? Dang it. During the midwinter holiday, Germans were terrified of Odin, as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people and then decide who would prosper or perish. Because of his presence, many people chose to stay inside. Oh, shit, it's almost been an hour. Oh. Okay, so Saturnalia. In Rome, where winters were not as harsh as those in the far north, Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, was celebrated, beginning in the week leading up to the winter solstice and continuing for a full month. Saturnalia was a hedonistic time when food and drink, when food and drink were plentiful and the normal Roman social order was turned upside down. For a month, enslaved people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Yeah, they would like all mingle with the poor people and everything. That's like a whole thing. I think someone was trying to get something like that going in London too. The Roman social order was turned upside down. For a month, enslaved people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Business and schools were closed so that everyone could participate in the holiday's festivities. Also around the time of the winter solstice, Romans observed Juvenalia, a feast honoring the children of Rome. In addition, children. It's about children again, you know. In addition, members of the upper classes often celebrated the birthday of Myra, the god of the unconquerable sun, on December 25th. It was believed that Myra, an infant god, was born of a rock. For some Romans, Myra's birthday was the most sacred day of the year. Oh, it's gone. I'm trying to drink it. I guess we're almost done here. I was having fun watching Christmas movies. Maybe I'll just keep watching even stupid ones. I was watching classics, stupids, whatever, you know. I'll watch the Santa Claus. How many sequels have they got now? I was going to watch Christmas with the Cranks. That's famously bad, from what I hear. Haven't actually seen it. And so it's talking about if Jesus was really born in the wintertime or not, but I think we know they sort of just like wanted to use that date because it was already, how they do. Like, it's just weird. Like, Constantine was sort of in on that, sort of gently trying to get Christianity to be more of the thing, without being too crazy about it. But he would, destroy pagan temples and shrines and statues and stuff every so often. And it was like, kind of wish they didn't do that. I heard that ISIS destroyed like a temple of Baal. Is that right? Like, and I guess it's Baal, but it's still cool. It's like, don't do that. And then, yeah, supposedly St. Nicholas destroys Artemis. Oh, you do it? Led after Constantine became emperor, persecution. Oh, did I already read this? Bishop Nicholas worried that some of his people might slip back into their old ways, visiting the shrines and Artemis's temple to make sacrifices and seek protection. He believed the worship of the old gods was demon-inspired, and that as bishop, he was responsible to safeguard the people. The Temple of Artemis in Myra was the most impressive and stunningly beautiful structure in all of Lycia. It occupied large grounds with beautiful plantings and an inner court with columns, an altar, and the goddess's statue. Nicholas set about with great force and zeal to destroy these shrines, driving away demons and bringing calm to the land. Legends tell of fierce warfare between Nicholas and Artemis. Wait, the goddess? Come on. Conflict which lasted all of the saint's life and even beyond. So he's fighting with the fertility goddess. Nicholas attacked this great temple with tremendous might and vigor, absolutely determined to bring about its total ruin. The very foundations were uprooted from the ground, so complete was the destruction. It is said that the fleeing demons inspired the people's awe of God. I don't like that. That sounds not true anyway, so whatever. Oh yeah, here. Christianity had for the most part replaced pagan religion by the Middle Ages. On Christmas, believers attended church, then celebrated raucously in a drunken carnival-like atmosphere, similar to today's Mardi Gras. Each year, a beggar or student would be crowned the Lord of Misrule. Weird. And eager celebrants played the part of his subjects. The poor would go to the houses of the rich and demand their best food and drink. If owners failed to comply, their visitors would most likely terrorize them with mischief. This is almost like another weird combo with Halloween. Christmas became the time of year when the upper classes could repay their real or imagined debt to society by entertaining less fortunate citizens. When Christmas was canceled, in the early 17th century, a wave of religious reform changed the way Christmas was celebrated in Europe. When Oliver Cromwell and his Puritan forces took over England in 1645, they vowed to rid England of decadence. So, Puritan, huh? And as part of their effort, canceled Christmas. By popular demand, Charles II was restored to the throne, and with him came the return of the popular holiday. The Pilgrims, English separatists that came to America in 1620, were even more orthodox in their Puritan beliefs than Cromwell. As a result, Christmas was not a holiday in early America. From 1659 to 1681, the celebration of Christmas was actually outlawed in Boston. Anyone exhibiting the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. By contrast, in the Jamestown settlement, Captain John Smith reported that Christmas was enjoyed by all and passed without incident. After the American Revolution, English customs fell out of favor, including Christmas. In fact, Christmas wasn't declared a federal holiday until June 26, 1870. 1870. Wait. Okay. In America, I guess. And then it talks about Washington Irving, A Christmas Carol. Oh, yeah. Supposedly, St. Nicholas had a situation with some Italian brothers who had been caught stealing where, who knows if it's true, as usual. There's just a lot of stories. But supposedly he took them on a little walk that was similar to A Christmas Carol, where he showed them like, you know, their past, present, and future, which ended with like, I don't know if it was like him putting on a weird play of some sort. You know, it always just says that it ended at the gallows with them being hung and their mother crying in the crowd, and they like renounced their stealing, thieving ways and thanked Nicholas for his beautiful lesson that he taught them or something. You know, it's kind of like A Christmas Carol. I don't know. So who knows if that's true? Could be. As Americans began to embrace Christmas as a family holiday, old customs were unearthed. People looked toward recent immigrants and Catholic and Episcopalian churches to see how the day should be celebrated. In the next 100 years, Americans built a Christmas tradition all their own that included pieces of many other customs, including decorating trees, sending holiday cards, and gift giving. We also got poinsettias from Mexico. Okay, anyway, I don't know. How much is there really to say about all this? Yeah, someone went to Mexico, probably just because they're bright red. We were like, oh, this can be our Christmas thing. I don't know. It's like an American kind of Christmas thing. Constantine. Commitment to Christianity. We could do a whole episode on Constantine. I think Fallon would like that. Okay, anyway, I guess I'm about done here. I'm going to call it a night. And to all a good night. What's the end of it? What's the night? It's been a long time since I thought about any of this stuff. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. There we go. I'll end on that. All right. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good holiday time and Christmas and stuff. Okay, bye.